It's no issue. I'm just gonna give an overview of our Family
Sure.
Wizard and then also talk about Keeper, which is the breath alcohol monitoring device. I don't
Yes.
know which aspects of our Family Wizard you're familiar with, or if you're familiar with all of them, but feel free to just ask me any questions if you have them or whatever.
Mm,
So we have
not
a
really.
calling feature so that folks can make calls to the child when they're with the other parent directly through the app. The main purpose for this, of course, is like transparency because they can't alter or manipulate it like they could if they were going to do, let's say they would say Wednesday night FaceTime, between one parent and the other. They do have to consent to receive the call. So it's not automatic that because they're connected on our Family Wizard, they can receive a call from the other. They do have to consent. Once they consent, though, that consent stays on unless or until they turn it off. But it adds this extra level of documentation within the app and then within reports that can be generated. It's going to show who initiated the call, how long it lasted, if anyone muted it, if they had their camera on, if they turned it off. Then, depending on their subscription level, they may also have the ability to record the calls. That is permission is needed each and every time. So unlike the consent, which stays on unless or until they turn it off, when they are placing a call, it's going to be recorded. The person receiving that call will get a warning each and every time that the call is going to be recorded, and that by continuing that call, they're consenting to be recorded. That if their minor child or children are present, they're consenting to the child or children being recorded as well. And then at that point, they either click continue, in which case the call will be recorded, or they can click leave call, send a secure message through our Family Wizard indicating, for example, that their agreement or order prohibits recording, or it's permissive, but this is not an appropriate case for it, or whatever.
Mm.
And then there they would have all that information, any recordings available, camera that was on, everything like that. This is what the call log looks like. Again, looks a lot like a call log would look like on your phone. However, this is different because it can't be manipulated. Unlike our cell phone, which we can make it look like a call didn't happen that did, etc. They're not able to manipulate this in any way. This is what a call activity report looks like. This is something that the parties can generate on their own, or if they have a professional who has a professional account and they're connected, that professional can generate it on their behalf in terms of all the calls that took place, who placed them, all that information. The messaging is the hallmark feature of our Family Wizard that people tend to be the most familiar with. I do think that it looks and feels a lot like Gmail on an iPhone. However, they use it just like texting, like they're getting push notifications, they're doing it in real time, but it does have the functionality of, let's say, something like Gmail on your iPhone because they're able to search their inbox, they're able to sort into different folders and things like that. But unlike text or email, they can never alter or delete the messages once they've been sent, and they cannot opt out of read receipts.
Mm.
The first few timestamp is there forever, and we never delete the messages, literally ever. We still have messages that went back and forth between parents 20 years ago. So if issues arise, maybe parties are using our Family Wizard for a couple of years, they stop using it, something arises that, was communicated about on our Family Wizard, they can reactivate their subscription and get access to those messages.
Mm.
Tone Meter used to be an add-on. It's now available on all subscriptions, and it essentially acts as an emotional spell check for the parties to let them know that what they're writing might be perceived as aggressive, humiliating, or upsetting. Those are the triggers, but it actually just says negative. So I'll show you here
Okay.
what it looks like. It says negative. Okay. But we do now also have an added feature, which is Tone Meter AI. It is available to all parents as well. It's not something that they have to add on, but they do have to turn it on within their subscription. And so now not only would it show negative, but they are able to click to ask for a suggestion. It will give them a suggestion of what they could write instead. And it works towards trying to make them not only more cordial, but also more concise. So try to narrow it down a little bit. And at that point, one of the things that I really like about it is not only does it try to make them more concise, but it is not any kind of automated feature. So it really does have the potential to help teach them to communicate better because they have to interact with it. So they look at the message that it suggests they write instead, and then they decide, do I want to apply this suggestion? Do I want to get another suggestion? Do I want to go back to edit it on my own? Do I want to send it the way that I originally wrote it? So they have to make those decisions and then move forward in that way. This is what the message report looks like. This is again something that the parties can generate themselves or a connected professional can generate on their behalf. Also, Kenneth, I do see your message, and I am gonna talk some about Keeper on this call. So and then if you still have questions, we of course can set up some time to talk about those. The calendar is color coded, so each party chooses, what color they're gonna see their parenting time, what color they're gonna see the other parenting time. We do have common parenting time templates available in there, so they can go and look at what they would look like, a 2-2-3, 2-2-5-5, 3-3-4-4, alternating weekends, fifth weekend, but they can also do custom. So if, for example, they do 5 nights at one home and then 5 nights at the other, they would just do 10 overnights and then ask the program to carry it forward for them for a number of years to come, and they can see their parenting time as it will look for those years to come. It does ask them to input holidays as well, which overrides the ordinary parenting time. It will prompt them for common holidays, but of course they can create custom holidays as well, like a parent's birthday or just a less commonly celebrated holiday. They're able to input events. These can be one-time events like a doctor's appointment or recurring events like sports practices, play rehearsals, and it will give the information about who created it. So let's say, for example, their agreement or order requires them to give the other party reasonable notice of a doctor's appointment. You'd be able to see if they complied with that or not, because you'd see when they put the doctor's appointment on the calendar. So if they put the doctor's appointment on the calendar 10 minutes before the appointment's happening, they want to make it look like they complied, but you can see that in fact they just put it on 10 minutes before. That would not have been reasonable for the other parent to get there. They can also make scheduled change requests within the calendar. These can be one-way changes. So if, for example, they have a right of first refusal in their agreement or order and they're unable to care for the child during their ordinary parenting time, they would be offering that time up to the other party as they're required to do before seeking alternative care. Or it could be a two-way exchange. If extended families in town, they want the child or children to be able to spend some time with them. They just give enough information for the other party to be able to make a decision in terms of the parenting time that's being impacted, etc. If they do accept it, it will automatically update the calendar to reflect that change in the parenting time. They can make reports of their schedule change requests, as can connected professionals. There's a journal which has multiple components. The first component is moments, and I would liken this to a closed loop social media between the parties. They're typically not connected on social media and they might not be using much social media at all, but there are some aspects to social media that can be helpful for folks who are co-parenting. So for example, if a child has some kind of severe food allergy and one of the parents takes the child to a restaurant that's very accommodating, the child enjoys it, they don't have to remember at that time. A week later, they can say, I took Danielle to such and such restaurant. They were very accommodating of her allergies. She really enjoyed it. If you're in the area, you should give it a try. Or in a situation like this, where one of the parties gets access to pictures from another child's birthday party, they could tag themselves, let's say at Chuck E. Cheese, and Danielle had a really great time at Mark's birthday party. Here's some pictures. Then there's a separate component within the journal, which is GPS-enabled check-ins. This only allows them to tag themselves within 500 feet of their exact location at that time. So this is typically used to verify arrival at parenting time exchanges. It can also be used if they're doing things like a midweek dinner or something like that. I definitely had some cases where the parties were supposed to meet at a restaurant to have the child have dinner with the other parent in the middle of the week, and one parent would consistently say they waited 20 or 30 minutes, the other parent didn't arrive, so they left, but the other parent would say, no, they didn't come, they just don't want me to see the child. This takes away their ability to play those games because they can only tag themselves within 500 feet of their exact location at that time. So we are, of course, cognizant of safety and security. The app is not following them. It's only when they choose to make this check-in. They also cannot request the location of the other party or anything like that. And even when they make the check-in, what it does is it gives them the option to share it or mark it as private. So it's not going to automatically go to anyone. And then if they choose to share it, it's going to ask them who they want to share it with. So it could be shared with the other parent. It could be shared with a connected professional, etc. Or it can just be kept as a record so that they have it for later if they need it. This is what a journal report would look like. Again, it would show GPS-enabled check-ins and or journal entries, moments. We have an info bank as well, which is essentially an electronic filing cabinet to house all things related to the children, to help them stay organized and keep everything in one place. It's a nice way for the parties to be able to compartmentalize their co-parenting relationship from other aspects of their life. So you don't have to be looking through emails and texts and different files they can have everything in one spot. Here it's helpful if they have a provision in their agreement or order requiring the party who carries the health insurance for the minor children to input that information into the info bank, upload the card, put in the policy number, things like that, so that the other party can access it on the go. They can share their parenting agreement in here. They can put report cards, sports schedules, all kinds of things. The expense log is a great way for them to stay organized in terms of their expenses. It could be for alimony, it can be child expenses. They go and they set it up according to their agreement or order in terms of the types of categories of expenses for which they might be seeking reimbursement. And then they can use it on the go. They set it up again here. Let's say they incur an expense related to school. The program already knows that they split that 70-30. They put the amount $100. Then they can take a picture of the receipt as they incur it and submit it and ask for reimbursement. If they have a subscription that enables it and they choose to set it up, they can also pay directly through the app with OFW Pay. OFW Pay, we've got bank level security. The vendors who connect the bank account on the back end are Dwolla and Plaid. They are the same vendors who do Venmo, so it works a lot like Venmo, and it adds an extra level of both convenience and transparency, because then the party will be able to see the last 4 digits of the bank account, where the money left from, where it went to, and when. With OFW Pay, they can also schedule payments to help stay organized. They could be recurring payments for things like alimony, child support, private school tuition, outstanding medical bills, and they can schedule those recurring payments on a specific day of the month, or they could do it on a yearly or weekly basis.
Is that an extra fee, Danielle?
What's that?
Is that an extra fee?
It's not a fee, so it's on a subscription model. I'm going to share the pricing of the subscription. So depending what subscription you have, you might be able to pay through the app or you might not. And if you have certain subscriptions, then you have unlimited payments through the app, and there's no like transaction costs for them.
Okay, thank you.
They can also generate expense reports, as can connected professionals. This is showing you what professional access is. I've kind of been talking about it all along. Professionals can have an account. It's free. They can connect with as few or as many families as they want to. And then they're able to go into what's called client view mode and see things the way we just did. So they'll be able to see the messages their client has without messing up any of the timestamps and things, because you'd be doing it on your own time and it won't show as them having read it. See what's on the calendar, see the journal entries, what's in the info bank, the expenses in the call log as well. We don't typically find that there is a problem entering the records or the reports, I should say, into evidence. Both of the parties, it's fairly simple to lay a foundation with both of the parties being on the platform and recognizing the message and all of that. But it is something that we are able to do if needed. This is something a parent can request or a connected professional could request depending on the situation. And some of the subscription levels come with unlimited record affidavits if needed as well. And those would of course be notarized and printed directly from our server. We are also cognizant of cybersecurity. So the data is encrypted in transit and at rest. We've got multiple firewalls. We partner with enterprise grade software companies like Oracle and Atomic Data to ensure that we're up to the latest safety standards. And we do also have an enterprise grade private cloud where we house the data. I've got model order language that I'm happy to share with you if you would like it, and you can share with your group. And I have a Word version of it, and it's fashioned as an order, but these provisions could be used in an agreement or an order in terms of really spelling out clearly how our Family Wizard is going to be used to set the parties up for the most success. So like, which features are they going to use? How are they going to use them? For the calling, for example, are they going to be recorded? Is it going to be prohibited from being recorded? To really spell it out so that they can set themselves up for success. This is showing you the plans and pricing. I can also send a link if you'd like in my follow-up information in terms of the model order language, and also a link to this so you don't feel like you have to memorize it. But as you can see, it goes from essentially $110 per parent per year up until $300 per parent per year. What really changes is the amount of outgoing calling minutes they have, whether or not they have access to recordings, and how many OFW payments they can make directly through the app. The other core features are available to all. We do also have a fee waiver program. The fee waiver is available for any parent who's being represented pro bono, any parent who's been deemed indigent by the court, or any parent who has received government assistance in the past 60 days, and they get sort of a middle level package with that. There's a military discount available as well. The military person decides if they're gonna pay or if the other parent's gonna pay. And then the whatever subscription level the parent pays for, the parent receiving the free one will get the same level of subscription. If they wanted a more premium package than the one that the paying parent paid for, they do have the option to call customer support and pay the difference between the package that the paying parent got and the one they wanted, and they can upgrade their package. We have customer support available 7 days a week in both English and in Spanish. This is available not only for parents or parties, but also for professionals. Since it's more than just password retrieval and stuff, they can help with processing fee waivers. They can walk you through different aspects of the app that you haven't used in a while. They can help you generate reports, anything like that. Now I'm going to get into the Keeper. So to be clear, our company does not make this product. This product is made by a parent company called Minder. Minder also makes Intoxilox and other, so they've already been in the alcohol monitoring space for a while, but this is a new product they have. And because it's so relevant to the family law community, they partnered with us, since of course we have lots of relationships with family law professionals, mental health professionals, etc., to spread the word about it. So Keeper is, as it says, breath alcohol monitoring. And the way that it works is they download an app, they get an app, they get the device, they can get the device very quickly. They had us order devices so we could see for ourselves. It comes very quickly. Then you can download this app, you invite authorized contacts, you're able to configure a testing schedule. And then you, of course, are able to provide the breath samples. As you can see there, it's a lot smaller and more discreet than SoberLink. There's no long straw. It's smaller, all of that. And then you're able to document the results and, share those with the connected contacts. It does have the same level of precision and accuracy as SoberLink. But it's a smaller device and it costs less and a little more discreet. With, you see the mouthpiece right there is a lot smaller than like the straw that you have on SoberLink. It's just a little piece. In fact, not a healthy option, but it kind of looks a bit like a vape. If you ask me, that's kind of what it looks like in real life. And let me see. Okay, so the device itself is $149. For reference, SoberLink is about $300. The subscription level for Keeper works differently than for SoberLink. So SoberLink also has tiered subscriptions, but theirs are based upon how many different things they want to use, meaning like how many contacts they're going to have, how many times they're going to test, all of that. With the Keeper subscriptions at any level, they get unlimited tests, unlimited reports. They can invite as many contacts as they want. All of that is included. What changes the subscription level for Keeper is instead how many months at once they commit to. So it's most expensive if they go month to month. That's then $129 per month. And it's least expensive if they commit to 12 months up front. That brings it down to $79 per month. These are all still, somewhere about 25 to 30% lower than the SoberLink subscription packages. And there are some folks who are hesitant about switching from SoberLink because SoberLink charges a cancellation fee. Currently, I don't know how long it's going to last for, but currently Keeper is willing to reimburse folks for the cancellation fee. So they can pay the cancellation fee and get reimbursed from Keeper and then have the less expensive device and the less expensive monthly pricing moving forward. That is what I've got. And then I'm happy to answer any questions that you all have. Yep, you can feel free. You just
Oh,
unmute.
okay. I have a bunch of questions about the Keeper because I have a case where the client was on SoberLink, and I'll tell you what my concerns are. So number one, how does the support for Keeper work? Is it 7 days a week, or do you know what that's all about?
They do have live customer support. They're not checking each sample, if that's what you mean. Like they're not
No,
in
so I'll
real
tell
time
you what
looking at
happened.
each.
Yeah, with SoberLink, the party was required because of an alcohol problem to do it whenever before he would see the child.
Mhm.
And the device failed. when he, on a time he had the child. And we found out for the first time, they have no weekend support. So when his device failed, he had nobody to call and talk to. No way for him to make a record that that was going on. And for him to get a new device, they were going to FedEx it to him, although that was a whole other thing. They FedExed it to the wrong place. But anyway, basically the entire time he was with the child, he had no new device and no ability to do that. And so that engendered a disaster where there were emergency, applications and all that. So backup support is a real concern. I never knew about that being a problem. And I never knew about that there could be such a long delay to somebody to get a new device. So I don't know if you knew anything
So
about
I
that.
will have to check for sure about the
Right.
weekend support. I'm pretty sure we have weekend support. I'm not
Okay.
positive, but I'll check and get back to that. And I just know from, again, ordering the device myself that it was there the next day.
Okay, so that would be a real issue, and people should know that that's an important thing to know about, because till you have a problem, you don't know that's there. So that's something. The other thing, going about to Family Wizard, I don't know if other people have this, but people are often performative, for lack of a better way to describe it, where they're sending welcoming, engaging emails all the time to each other, knowing they're going to be shown to a judge. And I don't know if there's any way to pick that up, but, oh, yes, Father, I would love you to go to the kids' event, but that's very different than how they are in person. Like, I don't know if AI picks up on any of this, that this isn't, consistent with some other language. I don't know what could be, but, anyway, just,
No, and I absolutely understand your concern. What I would say is I've tested it out, and the AI doesn't pick up if
Yeah.
something's really long-winded, again, because it tries
Yeah.
to make them concise. We don't need to go
Right.
about how lovely you are, but it
Yeah.
is true that if one of the parents sends a message, you are the greatest parent. It's not going to tell them like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is not how you usually speak, and it's not going to
Yeah.
tell them, I
Yeah.
think you're being sarcastic, for example.
But yeah, I'm just worried about whether also people make a lot of use out of it, for exactly that reason, knowing, for example, if they're in litigation, sort of trying to build a track record.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I would say, like, putting on my lawyer hat, I would think about, to some extent, how they proof of communication prior to our Family Wizard.
Yeah.
But then also especially being that this is a collaborative group, and in general,
Yes.
people want to move people forward in a better way. If in fact, this is the only way that they're communicating, if they have this as their sole means of communication, whether by agreement or by order, and they are having more cordial, that's the only communication they are having anymore. And at the end of the day, typically that's going to benefit the kids, because
Sure.
even if that's not, how they actually feel about each other, if that's their only communication and they're having minimal, for example, depending what their parenting time exchanges look like, if they're not really interacting other than that, at the end of the day, hopefully it still does help them move forward in a better way, because that becomes the new way that they're communicating.
Thank you.
Danielle, do you still need to share your screen?
No.
Okay, great. Now I see everyone. Everyone's has such a smaller box. Good morning, everyone. So Danielle, I had a question about the access, like if you're a mediator or a collaborative attorney, how do you have access? Can you walk me through if they want you to be like a user or access to their Family Wizard accounts?
Yes, and when I send you the follow-up information, I can send a link that has some frequently asked questions about linking with families. But the way that it basically works is it's a two-way, meaning like the parent can request to connect with you, or you can request to connect with the parent. You sign up for a free account, and then from there, there's two different options. If you get a client and they're not using our Family Wizard yet, you click on something that's called Add New Family. This is going to send them an invitation to sign up for our Family Wizard and to be connected with you. Or there's another option within My Cases to click Link to Existing Family. Then you search for them. Let's say you get a client and they're already using our Family Wizard. You search for them by email or phone number, and you seek their permission to be connected. they also have the ability to go into their account and send you an invitation to link up to them. So it can work either way. And I can, like I said, I can send a link with the instructions, but basically you set up your free account. If you already have one, you log into it, you go to My Cases, and then you choose to either link to an existing family or add a new family, or they can ask you to link with them.
Oh, thank you for
And
that.
then you're able to toggle between the different cases, and then you go from one case to the other, and you look just within that case one at a time.
Mhm. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Danielle, is Family Wizard only texting messages, or I forgot, can you also record phone messages, verbal messages?
You can do calling there. If you
Okay.
have the calling fee, everyone has the ability to get incoming calls. Um, depending on your package, how many minutes of outgoing calls you have, and those are recorded or not recorded. So it depends. You have to have the most premium package in order to record the calls.
Right.
And in there, the person's gonna have to grant consent to that being recorded. But if they do, then they have 90 days to download those recordings. And they have access to those. If you are a connected professional and the client who you're connected with has access to recordings, you can download those yourself by logging in. You don't have to get them to like send you the recordings.
Got it. But you're
Also,
not hearing them in real time. If you're one of the professionals, you're not hearing it live while they're making the calls. You're hearing a recording later.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes. You're not hearing it live. And at this time, we don't have the ability for professionals to join in on calls.
Mhm.
They would, but just for your knowledge, I mean, I know in this day and age, most people have access to some kind of, device where they would be able to store the
Mhm.
recordings of their calls and things like that. But if for some reason it's an issue and they don't, everyone who is able to use the recording feature is on what's called the max package. It's the most expensive package. That package does also come with unlimited storage in the info bank. So if for some reason they didn't have a device where they could, store their recordings, they would have the 90 days to download the recording, but they could then upload it into their My Files section in Our Family Wizard and house it there, in the cloud.
I would think, Melissa, like in a collaborative, it might be helpful for the coaches anyway, to
Yeah,
be
yes.
able to listen to, again, get the nuance, and the tone would be something helpful if there are issues about that.
Yeah, for sure. Mickey, did you want to speak to that? Mickey's our family specialist of the group right now.
For parent coordination cases, I could see where that would be helpful. And if they knew that we were on the phone, one of us, they would be better behaved. If they knew we were going to hear it.
Mhm. I'm also very interested, Danielle, in the language that you have. So for our agreements to include a little bit more detailed language as to like the family, what you're agreeing to, because I do have provisions, many of us do. Adam's also an attorney, also does parent coordination. Adam, do you do that too? Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, so just to have more detailed provisions as it relates to Family Wizard, it's just really just a line, like they're going to use an
Yep.
app, and I don't get into that level of detail because there's so many features and so many areas to really get that agreement on the scope of it. That would be really important.
Yeah, I'll definitely send that. It is really helpful because, in a lot of places that often has been, the parents will communicate via Our Family Wizard, or the parents will communicate via an app, like sometimes not even saying exclusively. And then sometimes, then they're like, okay, well, we're doing some stuff on Our Family Wizard, but we're also sending all these other emails and text messages. And then to some extent, it's defeating the purpose because, they're gonna engage in the same games of manipulation where one is like, well, I answered by text, I did, so
Right.
that's why it's really helpful to have those provisions indicating that this is gonna be their exclusive communication, and drawing out, like, if there are exceptions for emergencies, sometimes if there's a domestic violence protective order in place, there is no exception for emergency, like this is the only way they are communicating. But in some, there might be an exception for phone call in certain emergencies. But otherwise, still spelling out even too, like, our calls gonna be recorded, because if, for example, you have an issue where you're wanting a parenting coach or a parenting coordinator to be able to hear the recordings, then you want to have it in there that they are going to record them, so that's why it's really helpful to just try to be as clear about how it's gonna be used as possible.
Adam, did you want to share anything?
Hi Danielle. Apologies to have joined late. I'm running a little bit behind today. It's
Oh.
really interesting. I refer people to this all the time. Uh, I I think it's an interesting idea to kind of, make this uh, part of an agreement. Because what I feel like I do is I just recommend it offhand,
Mhm.
like, like during something. I was like, why don't you like try this? I also think there's something about it, and I think the tiered plan is really interesting, is just maybe for us, something to think about is the idea of promoting it for a period of time. Right. So what I've said to people is, why don't we just do this for 6 months, or something like that? Why don't we just do this for the summer so that like you can stop sending like nonstop like FUs to excuse my language to each other,
Right.
like, or something like that. Sometimes I think people like they're just like if you say it like let's just do it for a year or let's just do it for 6 months or let's just do it for the period that we're working together, which is something else that I've tried. Sometimes I've had more purchase with that, and then they
Mhm.
stay on it from what I hear.
Yeah, I do think a
It's
lot of times people
yeah,
end up finding it more useful than they think it's gonna be, or they're
right.
scared of it a little bit in some way, and then they think like, oh, this has actually, been a good thing.
And you have tutorials for like users to get comfortable with all the features? Is that something that's in the part of like the plans that you offer?
So they have various things, like I'm not a tech genius, so I can't tell you that like, they have onboarding things within the app, some that like point them like, oh, did you know about this feature or that feature? But I do have a YouTube video that I can send you that's like, it's a general overview of the platform that parents can view. We do also have what's called a parent pack. It's like a PDF that kind of shows them the different stuff. I can share that as well. And then we are also in the process of making more shorter tutorials, like, one specifically geared towards expenses, one towards this, one towards that they can. But short of that, they also really, our customer support is really helpful, and they can, if anyone has a question, they're like, oh, I haven't been using the expense feature. I'm not exactly sure how to do that. They can call them and they will walk them through that, setting it up.
Good to know. Seems like you've really evolved. There's been so many
Yes.
innovations since the first time that because you're always like such a presence at all of our
Oh,
conferences.
yeah. I mean,
Thank you
it's
for the
amazing. It's been around
sponsorship.
since it was a CD-ROM,
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty amazing that every year there's something, CD-ROM. Oh my God, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, it's more than 20 years old. Our Family
Holy
Wizard's been
moly.
around for more than 20 years.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So it's really good to see that you've really kept up with innovation and technology. And it seems like there's also a lot of interplay with your the clients to see what else they need. And
Yes, always seeking feedback from parents and from professionals. And so that's why even the last couple of years, not just additional features, but the features that already exist too, they worked a lot on the user interface to make them look and feel a lot like other apps that parties are already using, so that it's a seamless transition for them. They feel comfortable, it's easy to use, etc.
yeah, even that thing, it looks like Gmail, like it's a very
Right,
comfortable face to see,
right.
you know. Adam, were you going to say something?
Yeah, Danielle, and again, forgive me for coming a few minutes late. Does the Our Family Wizard program, in terms of the messaging back and forth, is there like an AI or something which asks you, I don't, if I miss this, I apologize.
Okay.
Like, are you sure you want to send this before you do? Like, or like a 3 second delay, like on my Gmail, just for example. And I'm not in the habit of writing nasty emails, at least not
Oh,
today.
yeah, right, Adam. Yeah, the one I got last week. No, just kidding.
Just Melissa, but everybody else I love. Like, does it have something which says like a think about this before you do it feature?
Yeah, it doesn't,
Because
it
I
lights
just feel
up.
like
It
even for
basically lights up.
myself, yeah.
Yeah, as they write it, it underlines whichever sentences are problematic.
Okay, I thought so. I
It
thought
doesn't
so.
stop them from sending it, but it does, as they're writing, they're gonna get something that says
Oh,
negative, negative, and it's gonna show the specific sentences that
oh,
were.
wow.
Yeah. Okay. I thought that he did. I just wanted to confirm that because
Yeah.
I think actually that's more helpful than people think. And I know it feels weird and like, the overlord is watching us, but that's kind of what they've signed up for.
Yeah, and I do think,
So,
and that's
yeah.
part of the point too, again, to the idea not only of collaborative practice, but hopefully all family law attorneys to some extent, at least want to help their clients move forward in a better way. And so like, that's part of trying to do that, is trying to train, like, okay, this is how you were communicating. It's not helping. Let's,
It's
you know,
also,
make it a
yeah.
better way.
People respond, and that's another thing, and I'm like, I'm sure you're thinking of this too. People feel just because they get an email or a text, they have to respond immediately.
Mhm.
And I think, and a lot of it is almost unintended. It's almost so automatic.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, even we've had this as, professionals. You send a colleague a message and you think it sounds so collegial. And sometimes you get back, why did you do that? Or are you upset with me, kind of thing? And you realize what we hear in our head isn't how the other person receives it.
Mhm.
And I think anytime people can get even a slowdown or that underlying thing, is a helpful thing. Because
Yeah.
I've had it where, as the attorney for the children, I've told each parent about, some comment about their communications. And I don't think they necessarily meant it. I think it's so automatic in that, hair trigger reply
Yeah.
that,
And I
yeah.
think it's to Mickey's point as well, when she said, people will probably talk a little bit differently if they know that it's being recorded and that, their parenting coordinator or someone else can hear it. That's the idea behind the messaging too, is that like they can't be altered or deleted. And so you're getting this warning that what you're writing is not, and then you know in your head as well that all of these messages can and would be seen by someone if needed. So again, that helps people, most people. Some people can't be helped, let's be honest, but it does help a good number of people to think like, okay, I'm not going to write that then.
You have the ability, once you send it, to like take it, like not to, sometimes you can send an email and then you have like 10 seconds or to say to take it back. You don't.
No, once you hit send, it's sent. It
done.
was like, it feels like it gave you the warning on
Okay. And
tone
then
here.
it's done.
Once you
Okay.
hit send, it's sent and it cannot be altered or deleted.
And in terms of like pets and any kind of like access schedule for pets, is that a feature on here, or how do you?
It not specifically for pets, but people do use it for pet. Like people absolutely have put their pet as one of the people on the calendar and things like that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
I
finding
mean, yeah,
that.
we've definitely had a few where they didn't have kids, they just had pets.
Okay, so you can kind of just substitute the pets for the kids or use
Yeah.
them. Yeah. I'm finding more and more, there's been a lot more issues with pets.
Pets, absolutely, yeah. Where people are, putting the pet into their order agreement for sure.
Yeah, and the pets that are bonded, you might even have like two pets, but then to divide the pets, it's not gonna happen. So the pets go with the kids, and it's a thing, right?
Yep.
Ah, all right. So do you have any other questions? This was so helpful, Danielle. I really appreciate the time this morning, and it
Oh,
was
you're
really
welcome.
nice
I'll
to
send you all that follow-up
Yeah,
information to
and
share with your whole group.
the same thing about Keeper. And then if I have any questions, maybe I can follow up with you because
Yeah, I'll send information
the
about Keeper too.
24/7 follow-up is really important because people obviously have court orders or agreements to use these devices, on weekends, holidays, and all that.
Mhm. Yes. And
Sure.
I will find out for you before I
Thank you.
send out the information if like what their exact hours are, because I know our family wizard is
Wonderful.
on the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh my
know.
God. Yeah, this one alleged mechanical error caused such a disaster
Yeah.
in trust and all that. So yeah,
That's hard. All right. Well, thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you for having me. I'll send all that follow-up
Thank-
information and then, yeah, Melissa, you're welcome to share the information and if anyone has questions, they can feel free to reach out to me.
Okay, well, you know that I think you consented for this. You spoke to Sarah that this
Yeah,
is
yeah, it's
recorded, so
recorded.
this
Yep.
will also be on our website for the
Okay.
members only. So if there's any other things like Adam, I know you missed a little bit in the beginning. If you wanted to review it, it should be up there soon. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everyone for coming, and really appreciate all your sponsorship of our events and the information and the service that you offered. It's really just a wonderful thing to have for our clients, to help them get through a really difficult time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay.
Danielle, thank you.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Melissa.
Bye-bye.